Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be doing this very mixed media, three-dimensional, cute little springtime. As you can see, there's quite a bit of dimension on it. You can do this on a canvas. I just did this one on watercolor paper. And I used a mixture of mediums, one being watercolor, so you're going to need some watercolor. If you don't have watercolor, you could use a very watered down acrylic mix, so there's no need to run out and get some watercolor. Also, you'll be needing craft paint or some type of acrylic paint that you have. It could be artist grade or craft, doesn't matter. And you'll need, if you're going to do my colors, is blue, ochre, and raw umber. And I think that was it. Oh, aqua color. There's different blues here. So pick the blues you want or make a color combination that you want. Also, you'll want a piece of chipboard, and I just cut chipboard piece for here and my door, and a button to match the color of the door. So whatever color you're going to paint, you can find a button that will match that color. Scrapbook paper also for the eggs here, and you can you could actually do a really colorful egg and then make your choices of all the other colors off of the eggs. Don't do something totally different. I would stick to either finding a color that you used in your background here for your eggs, or do the opposite. Find the eggs that you like and then use the colors that are in the eggs. The nest here is actually a moss that I bought at Michael's in the floral department, and I glued it on. So it looks like this, and it's in a pack, and it's not brittle. It's actually very pliable, and you can cut it, and once you add glue to it, it softens up even more, and it's quite easy to put down. So you'll want to get some of that, or if you don't want to use that, or you don't have any means of getting it, you could also use yarn, or raffia is another thing. It's almost time for Easter. I usually see the straw for the Easter baskets. Use that. You just want something that's long, and it's gonna look like sticks or whatever. I've also done it where I've used strips of fabric. You know, when you're doing quilts, there's a very thin 1/4-inch piece that you usually cut off. There was a place where I live here that sold bags of that, and that's what I used for a nest at one time. And it looked really cool. Strips of newspaper, ribbon, string, whatever, and you can use that. You could also go outside, pick some old leaves up, grass. If you have long strips of grass, you could glue those on. You'll also need a fine liner pen. I use this one here, and it's a Microperm, and it's a 03. It's kind of hard to see. And white paint also, and you will need to put down these heavier pieces. Gel medium, not fluid medium, gel medium, because it's thicker and it'll hold these heavier pieces down, like the buttons in the chipboard. This here is actually packaging. So it's a, I think they call it waffle package. If you don't have that, use a stencil of squares or brick stencil, and then do a separate piece of paper, craft paper, and just stencil the pattern on and use that. I just thought I may as well use it, and then I just dry brushed over it. So get your stuff ready, and we'll see you back here in a minute. Okay, so if you've got all your supplies ready, we'll start off by writing, not writing, drawing a house. So I want more or less the house to be not too big, and I'm just going to do a very simple house. If you want to use a picture from a magazine or something else that you have, you can do that too. I'm just going to make something very simple, and then we'll work around this. So this is more or less just a boundary for where we paint, and this, I know where the house is. So that's where the house is going to be. I'm not going to put the windows or anything in it because we're just going to paint on this. So the nest is going to be right in here, and I want it fairly big. And I'll have all the material that we're going to put in it, and the eggs that are going to go in it. So we'll just mark an area that would be best. Don't fill it all the way up to the top of the house, because we want to put these eggs in there. I want this nest fairly thick, so it'll be something like that. Okay, so that's all you have to do right now. And then we'll start putting in the feathers, and we're going to do this. This is watercolor paper, so the water will move fairly quickly on it. So you can get your watercolor out. If you don't have watercolor, you could use Inktense, would be another one. You do whatever you have. You could even water down acrylics if you want. Now, I'm going to keep it fairly neutral, I guess you could say, with a bit of blue. And you can pick whatever color you want to do. So I'm going to have blues, a little bit of gray, some cream, and we'll figure it out. But we're going to do very loose watercolor feathers in here. So I'm just going to spray my palette to get it nice and juicy. Let it sit for a couple minutes, just so that it gets fairly saturated into the paint. And I want my feathers to kind of come out. I have some tissue paper here, so if you are not sure what colors, you could use any of these colors. This is just for an idea. So if I'm going to do more blues and this color, creams, I could go into a bit of purple too, I guess. So as you can see, they can be curved a little. They can be a little bit feathered. The best way to get a feathered look is use a fan brush like this. There's many different types of fan brushes. There's this one here. It's kind of, we'll try this one, see how it works. I haven't used that one yet. But we'll play with it a bit. Now I think I might try, let's see, I'm going to wet this. Now you can take your pencil and I think I'm going to put a few in here, so I'm just going to put a couple in. Maybe one here. I think I'm going to have a chimney in here though. So let's put, so I know where my chimney is, like that. And maybe a couple. Actually, I'll just keep those 3 for now. And I've got a wet fan brush here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use it to put my water on. And then I'm going to take a color, so let's do some blue here. I have some blue. I'm just going to put that blue on and then wet it and let it do its thing. So wherever I put that water, with the fan brush is where it's going to run. So you can kind of roll it around and see where it goes. Remember, it's just where your brush went. So it's not going to go anywhere else. Now you can tease it with your brush a little bit if you want it to go around a little more. And while it's wet, you can take let's see if I got one. Something like this, and then just tease that out. Could be a toothpick you've got. Like that. And then you can add more color, maybe down the center. Let it do its thing again. I can wet it a little more to make it run. Some paint run more than others, so you kind of have to play with your paints a little bit. So let it run. We can put other colors in it. Let's see what color we want. Maybe a little bit of black. See what it does. So maybe the top would be black. A little bit darker. Maybe it has dots on it. We'll see what they do. Just have fun with it though. We'll let that one dry, and then I'm going to go over on to this side. We'll do the same thing. So I'm going to brush wash it out. And maybe we'll do the same color so it's cohesive with the other one. Add a little bit of water more to it so it runs a little bit more. Move it around. Add a little bit more color this time, maybe. And then with this, I'm going to scribe it out. Also, when you bruise your paper, when it starts to dry, it actually goes in those grooves that you put in. And those areas will be darker. So that's something to think about too. If you want some really cool looking. That. So let that one dry. Maybe I won't put any more water in it. I'm going to sop up just a bit of this. Just a smidge. Okay. And then if you want a smoother looking one, let's do this one here. So it would be bigger, and then it would taper as you go up. So a fairly wide bottom. So that one, maybe we'll put something a little softer in there. Maybe some sienna. A bit more on the bottom. And then maybe a bit of a darker color, some brown in between where I put these. That. And we'll let it do its thing. I could also, if you wanted to, you could put do the same thing. Let's see, it's kind of hard to see where I put it, but just try and have fun with it. Not worried about going over the house because the house will be put on separately with a different piece of paper. A little bit on the whiter side, a little bit of brown, It has stripes in it. Then we can also use colored pencils or marker, whatever you have on hand, and just make it your own. Let's do maybe some very wispy looking. Let's do some blue. This is ultramarine blue. Or no, it's what was it? No, this is cayenne blue. So let's put a little bit water to that. Light. It's going to be a little different. Now let's take our fan brush and see what we can make with this. So maybe we'll put in maybe one here. This might be two. That's interesting. From center point. Some wisps. That. Maybe one in here. Just make them the way you want. Like I said, there's no wrong way of doing these. They're just fun. And we can spruce them up with different stuff too. Okay, so then let's put a stem in for some pussy willow stems. So I'm going to do a fairly dark, so this dark brown here. And I want a stem in here. So it'd have a few pussy willows on it. And let's put one behind here. You don't have to make them big or anything. Let's dry this a little bit, and then we'll add some more on top. All right. So now we can paint on top of that. It's a nice thick pigment. And let's put some, maybe it comes out of here. Over top of this. So just a few. Maybe we'll have a secondary there. I'm going to make these a little bit darker. that. And just looking. Okay, I think I'm going to make these a little darker. So let's get that mix again. So that was cayenne. But I don't want it too dark. Let's put some fuzzies. Can go over top of another one. You could also take marker if you don't want to do it this way. Let's make a center point there, a little darker. Okay, now let's do some pussy willows. Actually, no, let's wait. Let's do this though. We want to make this, we're going to use a number of different mediums. So let's put a nice dark coat onto the area where the bird nest is. And this is going to be the background, and then we're going to put acrylic paint over top. Or you could also use gouache if you have gouache. We want a fairly, doesn't have to be even because there'll be a whole lot of stuff going on this, but we want it fairly dark. Maybe even a bit of black in there. I have some ivory black here, and it just helps darken that brown. I'll do that mostly in the middle part of this. That's where you would see it the darkest, is in those areas. Just like that. Alright, now we're going to set your watercolor aside for now. I'll just put it over here for now. And you want to get out some paint. So we're going to do a little bit of painting of the bird nest part. So we want kind of a lighter brown, maybe even you could get some cream color, or this one's called Ledkin Gray. It's kind of a creamy brownish gray color. Let's see, I have some yellow ochre will be good too. So let's put some yellow ochre on our palette here. Ooh, that's thick. It's almost gone. And some of this cream color. And maybe this grayish color. And this is, you want to use one of your This is a short script. So I want to mix, let's do some of this yellow and a little cream in there, lighten it up, some water in there. We don't want it too thick. When you're using a script, it has to be fairly watery. I'm going to add a little asphaltum, it's called, or if you have a black, you could use black, just to soften it up a little, or darken it up a little bit. I don't want it quite that yellow. Okay, so then just draw a bunch. They don't have to go from one end to the other. And you can mix up the colors too. And just do a bunch of lines. And go all the way around. Make sure they're curved though around the edge here. That's how they'll be laying. And you can go off the page too. I'm going to add a little bit of asphaltum. You can add dark, you can add light. And just do a bunch of branches. Just make sure you have enough water in your brush. That's the only thing you have to think about. There'll be all kinds of ways they're laying. So just play with the colors that you have put on your palette. You can mix them up. So I don't really change wipe my brush when I change a color, because then you get kind of neat combinations, and a lot of times you'll see streaking in branches and whatnot. Larger ones, smaller ones. Just go from light to dark, light from dark, and that way you get a more dimensional look to your nest. And you just keep doing it till you're happy with it. It might be a little bit darker on the bottom here, the branches, so you can put some of those in. Just play with it. You can take marker too if you want to do magic marker over it, or not magic marker, paint markers. Just play with it till you like what you see. Takes quite a few applications, I find. I like to put a lot down, then it looks more dimensional, thicker. And I don't let things dry in between either. I just go with it. Okay, maybe a little more of this yellow. Because there'll be many different shades, because the birds, they're not picky as far as the color. So they'll get them from all kinds of trees. and more condensed on the top part. So more overlaps with the top part, because that makes it look dimensional. And you'll see the light on the top also. You might want to put a little bit more of those light colors in there. Okay. All right. So then, just in this area here, this is going to be kind of covered. So I'm just, oop, I shouldn't have done that. Get a watercolor brush. I'm just going to cover that in a darker color, just so that white doesn't stand out too much for me. So you can just cover that up like that. Now I'll use white. I'll just use some white paint and my script liner, and put some lines in my, should have done this before I did the so it's thicker on the bottom. That, I'm not too worried how perfect they are. Okay. Now let's do some pussy willows. So they're almost this Lynchen, I think it's called, gray. So I'm going to use a little bit of that, and I'm going to use a, where did I put it? Yeah, a filbert brush. And I'm going to mix a little bit of that Lynchen and white. So I don't want it too white or too dark. And I'm going to use the form of my brush to help give me the shape of the pussy willow. So just make some pussy willows. And you can put in as many as you want. These are so easy to do, and we'll put more detail in them after they're dry. So let's put a little one there, and maybe one here, there. Pussy willows. Let them dry. All right, so now we want some eggs. So I thought it would be kind of cute to have Easter eggs. So what I want you to do is, if you have some already jelly printed papers, I have these. I think these are gold and aqua color. So I'm going to put this aside for now. Some packaging here I thought would look kind of cool as a house. So I could use it this way, or I could use it this way. So let's see. I'm gonna, let's see, I want, about there. Just gonna cut a strip. I'm not gonna put the house on right away though, because I should have put that around. Oh well. Okay, so it's gonna be about there. I might have to redo those eggs. I should have put the eggs on after the house. Yeah. So hopefully you're watching me first. Okay, so it's like that. And I'm going to fold it into the center to get my center point. That, and I'll just cut that off. A little bit wonky there. So there's where my center of the house will be. I want it this way. So it kind of looks like bricks in a way. Kind of cool looking. Now I can put my windows or doors in. And I think I'm just going to have a window there and the door here. So I'm going to glue this on right now. And I'm going to glue my windows and my door on top of it. So I do that, well, I want it more like that. Just thinking. No, I like that. All right. Did I put all my things? So I'm just going to put some matte medium over it. A bit more. If you have a window or a door stamp, you could get that. And I know there are some out there. I'm going to have to see if I have one. And I'm going to put it right over top. That. And if it sticks out a little bit on the edges, that's fine for me. I want this dimensional. Okay, so it's still got dimension. It's gone down a little bit, but it's still got dimension. I'm going to have to redo these eggs, which I think I will anyways because they're not bright enough. I want them brighter. Okay, so here's our eggs. So there's 1. 2 and 3. I even have this one. You could actually use that pink. Yeah. I like this one though. So let's put that one in there. So we'll wait because I want to put the door on. So the door, you could actually see if you can find a door that is in a magazine. I think that would look cute. If you can find a piece of wood also, that would be also really cute. A domino would work on there. That would be really cute. I'm going to look for something. Alright, so there's my door. And I found these, which I think I could probably use that piece right there. Looking at it, it doesn't really stand out very much, so I wonder if the red would look better. Or I just paint this. This is how I work. I'll try things, and if I don't like it, I just do something else. So I think I'm going to paint it. Where did I put my paintbrush? That probably the blue color. So let's get a bright blue. Kind of a turquoise. That'll do. Turquoise blue. Just need a little bit. And we'll paint this. And we could actually, might look kind of cool, take some of it off, rub off some of it so it's kind of worn looking along the edges. I'm just scratching it with my nail. That. And we'll glue her down there. So we want a fairly thick glue, so a gel glue is best. A bunch on here, fairly thick, and glue it down. I might whitewash the house itself. Now this part you could do a button. Oh, this one, that's cute too. Okay, we'll keep these out. I want to dry this first and put some white on this. So I just want kind of dry brushed, really. So let's take a, this is a bristle brush. And I'm going to just dip the end of my brush in, wipe some of it off, and just dry brush. When you do that, the anything that's embossed will show up more. Look kind of cool. And maybe a little bit on the door. Okay, Now we can put this on. I think this is cute. Put that there. Just a bit. So I want about there, I guess. Be okay. Press it down. Take some of that out. And I think I'm going to put Eve's the roof line on too. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut another piece of that board. So yep, that'll work. So right there. So then I can use, where is it? There it is. That. A little bit. Nope. That. Actually, let's do it one more time. So it's like that, so I get the miter right. Actually, it's supposed to be like this. So it fits a little better there. That'll work. I'm just going to clean up this edge. That. Clean this edge up. And then we can paint that blue on there, on these too. Okay, so let's, yep, I got some paint. And a brush. Nope, wrong way. Oh well, I can use it the other way. Doesn't have to be perfect. It can be grungy. Now it goes like this. Get some matte medium, put it on. This is the gel again, so we want it fairly thick. Like that. So there's our roof line. That's cute. Maybe I should put a smidge of this out just in case I need some more. It's not totally dry, but it's dry enough. Now let's get these eggs. So this door is going to be a little lower, so well, we could still put it on like that. Yeah, we could do that. So that they don't have to be. So it looks like. Like that maybe. Okay, so we'll put this one down first. Some of that matte medium on the back. And okay, there's our eggs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little highlight on the tops of them a little bit, but I have to dry them first. So take our bristle brush again. Make sure it's fairly dry, not too wet. Add some white to the ends, and I'm just going to highlight the area on the top, and then I'm going to just take my finger and smudge it. Same with here. Just to lighten it where the top part is. That way, have a little bit of a dimension to it. Then you can also take a little bit of gray, or I have black green here, I'll just use, watered down. And we'll put a little bit of on the side of my brush. And we'll just, right on the bottom area. That's a little bit much. In here will be a little bit of a shade area on the bottom of the egg. Or where it overlaps another one, there'd be a bit of a shadow there. This one. Like that. Okay, looking good. Okay, so maybe a little bit of that black also. I'm gonna put just underneath here as a shadow. So kind of have to dry brush it though, under the eave. It's not much on my brush. My brush is a little bit on the wet side. Because this is a different type of paper. It's bumpy, textured. So it needs a little bit of help with a little bit more water on your brush, just so that you're able to move it a little bit. Maybe down in here, a little bit darker. Kind of do the sides. Sometimes the sides of the building will be a little more worn. I'm going to put a little bit on my roof line too, some dry brush, just to dirty it up a little bit. There we go. And maybe even the button, why not? Alrighty. Now we're gonna get into this nest. So what I'm using is, where did I put it? You can get this at Michael's or flower places, and it's different green moss. And this one had a variety of different mosses and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to glue this onto this nest, but not fully, just bits here and there. Probably more this style, this type here. You can use the green one too. I think I like the, this is going to be a mess, I can just tell. Alright, so stuff like this, you know, you can just take bits of it. We don't have to have all of it. Take it apart. So just take your scissors. Bits and pieces. Let's see, flatter areas. It's very interesting, this stuff. Very dimensional. You could have it this way too. You could spray paint this if you wanted to. If you want, see, you can, maybe we could put some white on it. Let's see. Probably take sprays really well. You can just paint bits of it so it shows up a little more. You put it the other way where it's a little darker. And then brush. So let's, I want it kind of overlapping areas. This is going to be a little bit thick. So I think I want to take some of this stuff out. Maybe separate it or make it a little thinner. You can squish it. They're not necessarily brittle. It's weird. So I think I'm going to make smaller ones. And I want to go over my egg area, basically. So you don't have to have it completely down, like glued down. It can be sticking up a little bit because it won't. It's very different. It's very strong. I'm going to have it. Now it's going to look a little bit weird right now until I get this all put down. Let's see if I can untangle some of this. It's a bit messy. You could always just put it down and then glue it or paint it later too. Okay. I like it. It's cool. So let's put some more of this in. Maybe like that. I'm going to make this smaller. I like it when it sticks. Past the painted area. That. You're going to have it sticking up as much as you want. Just have to have enough gel medium to keep it down. Oh, that one's come on. It's gonna be interesting. And the gel medium will all dry clear once it's done. Let's put a few more in here. Let's see. Keep going to the that. Once the moss starts to soak up some of that glue, it softens. So then you're able to push it down a little bit. Which is kind of cool. And a little bit more down here. In here, I think. this here. And just a few little pieces here. I think the smaller ones. That stuff is strong though. Can't believe it. So the smaller twiggy ones down in here. Like there. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've got some other ideas that I'm working on, like this. I just think it looks really neat. Three-dimensional. I love three-dimensional stuff. There, maybe. There. Maybe this here. Right there. Missed it. Doesn't take much, and that's why we painted a fairly dark background. So we can put this stuff in. So there. That. There. One little more. Just a little bit more and then we're done that part. And then here. And we can go in with pen too. And finish some areas you think you might need a little bit more in there. I think that should be good enough. Okay, so as you can see, it's not quite dry, but doesn't that look like a real nest? I love that. Now, while that dries, we're going to do a little bit of pen work up top here. Now you can use a fine marker, you could use colored pencil, you could use waterproof pens, like fine liners if you want. I think I'm going to use a fine liner on mine, and maybe some Poscas too. And I'm going to do the Pussy Willows. I'm going to do a little more work on my feathers. The feathers were done in watercolor, so you could use acrylic paint pens, you could use really anything. Even ballpoint pen would work if you want to add a little more detail to this. So you just, from the bottom, you just flick lightly. Go around, they'd be on a bit of an angle. A little bit more condensed around the bottom and around the edges. And then as you go towards the center, they become more sparse. Just a few, like that. And so you can do all of your Pussy Willows like that. That's cute. I like that. See how it brings it out? Now I could put a little doorknob of some sort, maybe a bead. I could probably find a bead to put in there. Or you could just put a dot of something, or just draw. I think I'm going to use my Zig markers. So these, the clear color real brush. They're great. I don't use them as often as I should, but they are great. I think I have the whole set, as far as I know, unless they've come out with other ones, which is possible. These were bought quite a while ago when I lived in Cambridge. Let's see, nice gold, I think. I like to test them though. Actually, I'm gonna wet an area first. Or no, I think let me see. I want one side of this thing to, I'm just wetting it so it bleeds into it a little bit. You have to be fairly quick. So I like have a wet brush and then do it right away so it doesn't get away on me. You can't really do a whole lot of wet and then use the brush because for some reason the brush kind of sucks up the water and then loses color. Let's see. We could do some black or dark brown. Let's see how dark this is. That might work. Do I want? Yeah, I won't. Well, I have a little bit of black, but let's see. Maybe a few more of these stripes. A little bit more detail. And then I think I'm gonna put some pen work in there. So let's try that. All right. So let's put in, how do we tie this together as far as the feathers. We can, I think I'm just going to use pen work. Okay, there it is. Yep. So I'm going to put in a little bit of shadow along one side. Now I know I already did some of that. I think it needs it more. And probably some fuzz. Just mainly on the bottom here where they would have those areas where they kind of and then I think I'll put, I don't know, maybe an outline. This way. And still not happy with these, so I think I'm going to put a bit of dark circles or something. I don't know. Probably black. dark color. And just some dots. On the bottom part. So we'll see how they look right or not. I'll bring you guys out again. And while I've got my watercolor out, I'm going to put some shadowing around here. And I'm going to use that same, now probably will resist a lot of this stuff in here because of the matte medium. But that's fine. Whatever it does is fine. I just want it a little bit darker in there. Kind of muddy. Well, that kind of looks... Well, I just wrecked it. I'm going to have to go back in. Put those in again. That was dumb. Oh well. Oh, I forgot to put the chimney in. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Okay, we got to put the chimney in yet. This is still drying. So we could put another piece of that, this stuff. And it's got a little cap on it too. So we want it right about there. I don't think we need it quite that wide. And we want it about like that. Gotta get the right angle so it doesn't lean. That down now. Maybe we can get away with that medium gel. Let's see. Like that. Some white paint. Where did I put it? White paint. Huh. Where did I put? Oh, there it is. No, that's not it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, did I glue it? Yeah. So a little bit of white paint on there. and a little bit of gray afterwards. Let's try some of this along the top. It'll be a little bit dirty because of the soot. That. Okay, and we can dry that. And now we can take our pen again and do a little bit of detailing on the house if you want. I think I'm just going to put a little doorknob. Or actually a pole, door pole. And I'm going to make this the cap. So we'll actually color this a little bit darker, but I think it might be kind of fun to kind of shadow some of these, just with a little bit of pen work. So just do one side, and that'll give a little more detail to your page. I think it looks cute. Now if you can't, if this is, what do they call it? Waffle shipping paper, I think. Comes with, some people send it with their stuff. You might have some. You don't have to use this. You could also do brickwork or put a brick pattern from a stencil in molding paste. I'm going to put a little bit of line work in here. I might even just looking to see what else I want to do here. I might put a few more sticks in maybe. Let's see, I think I might put a bit of that white. Let's see if this works now. So this white, and I'm just gonna brush over, so more or less dry brushing over these sticks here. Just to bring them out a little bit. And then that way, any of the dark areas below it will show. We'll give it a little bit more depth. You could actually take some really wet let's see, either umber or black color if you want to darken some of those areas. Just a real wet brush, some black, just go in. Or you could have sprayed it beforehand. I always think of the things afterwards. Could use sprays. Just to darken some of this up. that. Some of these areas are still drying. Darken some of this here. Maybe a little bit more around those eggs. I think they need a little bit of help, just so that they stand out a little more. That. Maybe behind the egg a little bit, just so that they're showing up a little bit. So we'll darken the just behind there, just so that they show up. Here we go. Alrighty. Now this is when I usually stand back and take a look, see if I see anything else I think needs to be done to it. I was going to put that on, a little bit of black on the top of this. There. Maybe some in here. I think I need to, I tried watercolor, so I'm going to use this watery mix for in here where I couldn't put it. And just take, oh, I can't do that. Some of that area. There. I think that's it.